Welcome back to Bonanza Disc Golf and to another episode of Project 100 where we're going to talk about why you should not focus on your off arm during your swing. And this is something that I've really tried to focus on for a really long time, and it has done nothing for my game except for kind of confuse me a little bit. And I want to explain why and how I'm actually starting to get it right, not fully getting it right. And as always, like I like to preface these videos, I'm not a coach. I'm just sharing my journey to try to get 450 to 500 feet of distance so that I can try to compete at the Pro Tour level within this year, maybe next year or the year after. And I'm trying to really get my backhand form as good as possible before I start my season. To do that, there are a ton of pieces to the form, and we've talked about a lot of them already. My tripod just got stuck in my shoelace. We've talked a ton about the hips because I used to turn all the way around and then torque over on a disc, causing myself a lot of rounding. And now we're really focused on keeping the hips up and then back down through the movement and bracing against the front leg. We've talked a little bit about that, and I've been having a little bit of trouble with that because I would brace, but I would always fall over the front of my shot. And I was noticing as I've been playing with some pros, Thomas Gilbert and Kevin Kiefer, that they don't do that. And there was one thing in their upper body that they did that seemed to help them not do that. As I've been also looking at other disc golf content creators and coaches and just basically trying to take in as much information as I possibly can, because to me, when I'm thinking about form work, I know that there are going to be coaches who resonate with me better than others, and even if I do have a really good coach that I like, the way that they explain things is gonna be different than the way that somebody else explains things. Let's take a quick look at my form recently before I've started working on this change, which is basically anything I've shot before this week. As you'll notice, when I'm coming through my shot here, this off arm comes in, and then it just starts the rotation and brings the rotation all the way around. And I'm rotating very quickly. I'm a little bit leaned forward with my head, but my off arm comes in. I'm not really bracing against my off arm, and I'm getting really tight, which is giving me fast rotation, but everything is rotating at the same speed, meaning that when the disc ejects, it's not getting a lot of acceleration from everything else breaking and having it go, instead it's just going, that was a little dumb, but here's what it is. I've really been liking DG Spin Doctor on YouTube. I'm gonna link his channel down in the description because I've been liking the way that he's been explaining some drills. They've been really resonating with me. And not even drills, just the way that your body moves. And even before that content, one of the things that I noticed that I've called out in another video is when Thomas Gilbert releases the disc, when I was playing against him, I compared my form to his, he releases it right here compared to his body. It's kind of like right out here, right at this 10 o'clock is what a lot of people say. The way that I was releasing it is I would come around and it would release basically straight ahead of me. What that means is that because the disc is releasing from here to here, the trajectory is that way, a little bit to the right or a late release. Why would airplanes have to fly to airports, dude? This made me think a lot about the off arm. Because one of the things that Yanni said in his video is that a lot of people think about the off arm in the incorrect way. And I think I was falling into that because everyone always says, oh, you have to start the rotation with the off arm and then bring everything else around. And I thought, I had been thinking that I was doing that for the longest time, and I was with my other throw. I would start my rotation with the off arm, but then everything would just kind of spin together. And so only hearing that you need to start your rotation with the off arm and not that you need to brace with the off arm. Some people call this a swim move, where you'll see like a Drew Gibson kind of come in and then kind of stop back and have a brace against which to throw. You see this with Garrett Gurthie and Eric Oakley, where Garrett Gurthie will come under his arm and then go backwards here, and so the shoulder is bracing back. That, I think, especially for you watching this video, if you have questions about this and aren't a pro throwing 500 feet already, is probably the main thing that you need to work on first, which is why I say to stop focusing on your off arm, because focusing on your off arm to drive the movement forward is what I had been doing, and I've been focusing on it and everything had just been moving at the same pace. What you need is for your hand to act like a whip. So when you come through the throw, you come forward, the off arm comes in, maybe, doesn't really matter, but it stops here. And your body stops here except for your hand and your elbow. Your elbow comes out and your hand accelerates past the disc and you hit, and then everything else just kind of comes back through. Problem is, it's kind of hard to explain how to do that. Let me show you a quick example of me doing that. So that's an MV. I think it went about 280, 300 feet. Not a crazy amount of power, and not a great nose angle either. Here's a reactor real quick. So you can see my brace. I'm not falling off the front of this tee pad. That one went about 330 feet probably. And these are going relatively far with pretty bad nose angle, because nose angle is honestly the next thing that I need to figure out, because I've been noticing as I watch more and more pros, you keep noticing things that you do wrong. After you fix something, you're like, okay, I'm getting closer. Oh, and then there's another thing. And I think the biggest thing is nose angle and spin rate. Even though I think I'm throwing pretty hard, my nose angle is trash, so it's not going super far. Here is a fairway driver, the Birdie Disc Golf Supply Strike. Woo. Probably about 350 feet, nothing crazy, but I'm also doing like a little two-step And then we'll go with an Enigma real fast from Discmania. Maybe like 380, 390, nothing crazy. But all of those, if you've been watching my content recently, we're bracing so much better than everything else that you've really seen from my channel. The main reason is because I start my brace not at my front foot, but on my upper body. That just makes sense based on the way that your motion goes in your throw, because you have your back foot, you have your step off foot after your X step, and then you start your movement. I don't even think my timing is perfect, and I'm really not even focused on that right now. First thing that happens is that off arm starts to come through. I'm not even thinking about my arm at all during this movement. All I'm thinking about is keeping my head centered above my chest and not letting it lead my throw. That's the biggest thing. So this right here from the T-pad says 375. This is the Enigma, so maybe around 390-ish with a little two-step, and I didn't fall off the T-pad, which is my main thing. So let's quickly talk about why this happens and what I'm focusing on instead of my off arm. As we just look at the domino effect of the throw, when you start, you're looking at your target. And then as you reach back, I don't even need my legs for this. The legs are not important right now. But as you reach back here, you can't really look at your target and get a full reach back. This is as far as you can go. It's also as far as I can talk because of the plane right ahead of me. So I'm right here with my disc as far back as I can get. So to get back, I have to make my head neutral. I can't just be looking forward. And my head is neutral when I'm looking forward on the T-pad here. But as I start to go back, my eyes stay until I get to this point, and then I just want my head to be neutral. If you're tense around your neck, it's not gonna be good. But if my head stays neutral here, then I'm back here. So when my arm comes through, or even if it doesn't, or if I do the swim move thing, doesn't matter. All I have to do is keep my head central here, because if I lean my head forward, your body follows your head. Some people say your body follows your nose. Some people call this nose over toes. I don't even think about that. I just think of, I'm basically trying to look 90 degrees from where I'm throwing as I throw the disc. And so as I'm back here, then I start this way, and then I just keep my head here, and then I can't really open up fully if my head just stays 90 degrees from my target, so I have to eject the disc out. Obviously, everything is still moving, so like it's not gonna be perfectly 90 degrees, but if you think about it that way, you're gonna be closer to where you need to be, because everything, you're still completely rotating, but the key is to get your hand to be rotating the fastest out of everything in your body, because that's exactly why people think about the throw as a whip. When you come through the throw here, from right here to right here, that should be the fastest point of the throw, to get from this position out with the disc. That needs to be the biggest hit, and that'll also help you to, if we're looking straight on from a target, be at this position, this 10 o'clock, which when you go from here to here with your elbow, that's a straight line path straight ahead, instead of, if everything is still rotating, going from here to here, where it looks like it's going straight out towards you, but because the path of the disc is from the left to the right, since I'm right-handed, it's actually going to eject to the right, and I have to overcompensate for that in some way, which is gonna wind up losing me power. And so essentially you're letting your anatomy move your head, not your head move your anatomy, which is the main thing that I had been doing wrong, because I would come through and then I'd want to watch my throw, and so my head would kind of lead everything forward and it rotate my body prematurely instead of now letting my body do that work. Still, nose angle, absolute trash. Definitely the next thing I need to work on. But you can hear the snap difference in my throws now compared to a little bit earlier. And I'm not really falling over the T-pad as much at all, because I'm not forcing my body overhead. You also have the same thing when you look at hyzers. All of it is just thinking about that head placement. You can really start to hear that snap, and there's obviously more things to do with it, but it's because, since my head stays down here, this has to be releasing faster than the rest of my body's moving forward, because it comes out ahead of me, but actually in a straight line path. So here's the envy one more time. I'm gonna try to actually give this one a little bit of power and see if I can still not fall over my lie. Not quite, still got some work to do, but it's the start, and it's definitely better than it has been before. Obviously, I'm not saying this is gonna fix your backhand, and this might not even be something that you need to work on right now. But if you're working on your upper body, keeping your head neutral, not thinking about your off arm for now, but keeping your head neutral, well, actually, if you look at my off arm in these videos, I have not been focusing on it at all. This might not even go in the, I'm gonna keep it in the video no matter what. But we can see what my off arm looks like compared to my previous throws, where I kind of tuck it in real tight and try to rotate fast. And now I'm not really doing that. I honestly think it's gonna be closer to what a good position would be, and that's where that becomes a more advanced move, where right now, I just need to focus on getting the general mechanics of the throw down, and then I can try to impart a little bit more power by perfecting my timing, by adding that punch and power when I start my off arm. But right now, that's not gonna do anything except for hinder my progress, because focusing on that off arm without bracing correctly against it hurts my foot brace. Oh wow, that MV actually went further than that reactor. And so my focus with this isn't going to be to perfect my off arm to get my throw good. It's going to be perfecting my head placement and this positioning, because my off arm will follow. It's gonna stay at my side. If I'm not focusing on bringing it in really tight and rotating fast, but instead focusing on being here, like my off arm, it can't really get ahead of my head if everything is staying in this neutral position, where essentially when I open out, it's 90 to 110 degrees straight ahead from my target here. I'm gonna be doing a little bit more daily vlogging because I'm trying not to throw as many throws on courses for these videos, just to give my body a little bit of rest while I am lifting and working and still training and doing some form work. So there will be a little bit more daily vlogging and more of kind of these style videos where it's more of, I've been working on this, so let's talk about it after I've kind of figured it out, as well as some other people who are gonna be coming on the channel to help me in some different capacities. But really happy with how this has helped even my leg bracing. Like I did not fall off that T-pad at all, and I threw 390 feet. I mean, maybe it's shorter than that, maybe it's only 360 feet, but either way, I wasn't trying to throw it hard, and I still got good snap and got it out there. So if this helped, I have a bunch more Project 100 videos as well. Check them out right down here. There'll be plenty more videos to come as well, but this is the main thing I'm gonna be working on for the next couple days until I feel like it's kind of integrated. I did film a video before I shot this, which will be coming out pretty soon, which is the envy versus glitch on this course. And I tried to implement this, and even just with putters, everything felt like it was coming out more accurately, cleanly, and with a lot more spin. And spin is so important. No one really knows the correct ratio of spin to speed, but just so that you guys know, the couple other major things that I'm aware that I'm gonna be working on for these next couple weeks are gonna be a little bit in how far I step my front foot. It's gonna be a lot of like arm placement for the correct slingshot and power pocket, however you wanna think about that, and just really perfecting my timing, because I feel like my timing is actually a little bit off and I could probably add a decent bit of distance. But a little more field work, a little more practicing to shoot over 400, and a lot more rest coming. Okay. That's all. Hope you guys like this video. Watch the other ones. Okay, love you guys. Bye. Where I was standing for the outro is literally just red ant hills. That was painful when I turned off the camera.